So it's been a busy day getting everything ready to head over to Canada to do some carving demonstrations with this new range of tools that's been developed by Record Power to be compatible with the carving by numbers education. Now, Record Power are based in the UK and I've been working with them for some time to develop this new range of tools. Well, I can't believe it's almost 30 years since I first developed the carving by numbers education, and if you're new to the program, it's basically a step-by-step guide that takes you through a series of projects using a relatively small selection of tools, and the program guides you through the foundation skills of becoming a woodcarver. So over the years, I'm proud to say that the education has been endorsed and supported by actually most of the world's leading carving tool manufacturers, and this is a really nice selection of some of those premium brands. So we've got this is File, which is a Swiss brand. We've got Dubai, which is Austrian. A couple of German brands. So this is Two Cherries, and this is Dastra. For British brands, we've got Robert Sorby, Henry Taylor, and Ashley Isles, and of course now this beautiful new range by Record Power. So if you've got any of these other brands already, or you prefer to use them, that's fine, because you can still follow the carving by numbers education, and the best way to match your profiles is simply to match the physical profiles to the charts in the downloadable projects. And so Record Power have developed this range of dedicated tools specifically for the carving by numbers education. And so I think a question that's going to be asked is, how do they compare to the other tool brands in terms of quality, range and price? So we'll take a look at that now. So quality. So they're manufactured from a chromium vanadium alloy steel, and that is hardened to around 60 Rockwell, which I believe is the target hardness for most premium branded tools. They're fitted with a brass ferrule, European beach handle. Most importantly, they're a full-size tool, so they can be used for nice delicate work, but also they can be used with a mallet. So as a test of durability for the Record Power tool in comparison to the other brands, I thought what I would do is strike each tool with 10 blows into this really heavy piece of oak. Now this is hard as nails. It's been under the workshop for about 10 years, so it's rock hard and really dense. So I'm going to strike each tool with 10 blows and then test the steel to see if the edge has been compromised into this relatively lightweight, easy to carve piece of basswood. And I'm going to keep going with each tool and count the number of blows in the oak until we start to see a compromise on the blade. And I think that's going to give us an indication as to the durability of the steel in each tool. So importantly, I've used a whetstone sharpening system, which is probably the best way to regrind your tools. I've used a whetstone sharpening system to grind each tool with a 20-degree angled cutting edge, and I've then honed and polished each tool individually, so they've all got the same angle of cutting edge, and they've all got a brand new perfectly razor sharp edge. And to be fair, a 20-degree angle is really asking a lot from a tool, especially into something like oak, because the average angle of a carving tool blade is generally ground anywhere between 20 and 30 degrees. The general rule is the denser and harder the timber, the greater the angle, because the finer the angle, the more susceptible it is to damage. So it is asking a lot, but of course that's the purpose. The objective is we're going to see how the steel compares to each other. Alright, so let me show you exactly what we're going to be looking for, and by doing this I can answer another question, which is how sharp are the record power tools straight out of the box. So this is a brand new set here. They've still got the wax tips on the blade, and in my experience with any brand, they'll be factory sharp straight out of the box. But look, it's essential that razor sharp tools are imperative for effective wood carving. So you're really gonna need to know at some point or another how to sharpen your tools, and it's actually relatively simple. But let's have a look. So this tool here, I'll take the wax tip off. Let's see how this one is. That's not bad. We've got a nice polished finish. But I don't know whether you can see these little drag marks. It's not bad, it's okay. But can you see these little drag marks here in the timber? Well, if you've got a razor finish, it will be a polished finish, and I'll show you how to achieve that. To sharpen your tools straight out of the box, you could just get a piece of leather, and with a piece of leather you can draw down this piece of honing compound and work that into the blade and strop it in that way, so that will get you a razor edge. However, there's a far quicker method, and I'll show you that next. So this is simply, it's just a polishing machine. It's a high-speed polishing machine which we fitted with some felt wheels. This is a flat wheel, this is a shaped wheel. Now when you're using this sort of machine, it's really, really important that you make sure that the wheel is travelling away from you. You would never present a tool with that coming towards you, because that could result in a really nasty injury. So you want to make sure the wheel is travelling away from you. Make sure all of your loose fitting clothing are tucked well out the way, and really important to wear eye protection. I will turn the machine on, a little bit of compound, and you just watch how quick we get this. So literally 1, 2, 3 passes. That will have created a little burr on the inside, which I'll remove. And again. So now you look at the difference now. So where you got that previous drag mark, look at that. So that is a beautiful polished cut with a razor sharp tool. So it didn't take any time at all, did it? And you can also see it's got that lovely polished finish on the bevel. Alright, so let's make a start. I will start with the record power tool. So again, I'm going to see how many blows it takes in the oak until we get a compromise in the blade. So that's absolutely razor sharp. Let's give it a go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and test. So that's perfectly still good, nothing bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 20, and so on, and I'll keep repeating that until I start to see a blemish or some sort of issue in the blade. I think this is going to take some time. Okay, so I'm at 230 blows and it's still going good. Actually, bit of a rethink. This is taking ages, yeah, I think I'm gonna be better going across the end grain. I think that'll be a bit more savage on the tools. So what I'm gonna do is resurface the tools, get them back razor sharp, and then we're gonna go across the end grain. Right, well that was hard work, and actually the results are quite surprising. So out of all 8 tools, only 3 made it past 400 blows into end grain oak without showing signs of a defect in the blade. Remember, it's really asking a lot of a tool at a 20-degree angle, so it's not really a big surprise. But for those 3 that didn't show a sign of a blemish, that's really good news. And of those 3, I did a further 200 blows, and still they were not showing a sign of any wear. But suffice to say that the Record Power tool, in comparison to these premium brands, did incredibly well. It's in the top 3, and then I continued beyond that 600 to go ahead and knock that piece of timber into some sort of shape, which was another couple of 100 blows, and still it was performing very well. There was a slight blemish at that point, a very quick polish up on the machine, 2 or 3 passes, and it was back to good functional condition. So I'm really pleased with the quality of these tools. Exceptionally good. Okay, so now let's talk about range and price of the Record Power tools in comparison to those other premium brands. But first, I'll just give you a little bit of perspective. As a professional carver, I would have at least 200 different profiles of tools. But there is that select few, it's that very limited selection that you would keep picking up time and time again, no matter what project it is. It's the common few. It's Pareto's principle. It's that 80-20 rule. And so this selection, this limited and narrow selection of tools, is what I've chosen to be part of the Carving by Numbers education. And that's what Record Power have developed specifically to suit. So the range of the Record Power tools is actually quite narrow. It's limited, but it's very functional. And that's all you need to follow the Carving by Numbers education. Importantly, the tools are also only sold as sets. So you have a pattern carver set of 3, there's a spoon carver set of 3, and the essential collection. Or you can buy a set of 12, which is the 3 plus the 3 plus the 5, and 1 extra gouge as a bonus. But that's basically it. That's the entire range. And that means that really helps us to keep the costs down, because it's just 12 tools at this stage, and they're all sold in sets, not as individuals. So it's quite cost effective to make, and it's quite cost effective for our dealers to stock. In comparison to other premium brands, they're specialist carving tool manufacturers, and they really do make the hundreds and hundreds of different tool profiles. Well, again, there's a cost associated with manufacturing all of those various profiles, and also for a retailer, there's a cost associated to stocking them. So this is why in some cases, depending on where you are in the world to buy the tools, in some cases, on average, the carving by numbers tools, the individual tools, if you break the cost down, would be 50% of the cost of some of these other premium brands. And in some cases, even a third of the price. And that, obviously, as we've demonstrated, is not a compromise on quality. So if I was to summarize all of that, I would say that in terms of quality, well, we've demonstrated the quality is really good. I'm very pleased with them. In terms of range, it is a limited range. It is a limited range, but it's a very functional range. It's the type of range of tools that you'll use for most carving jobs, and it forms an excellent foundation. Also, it's the only range that you're going to need for all of the carving by numbers education. And because of all of those things, the price is really good too. So if you wanted to find a local stockist, you go to carvingbynumbers.com, you'll see a dealers page, and on there, hopefully you'll find a stockist near you.